All right, so let's make our goose here the new go-to. So we can do this a couple different ways. Probably the simplest way, to be honest, is to actually just use the enemy cube that we've already created. So what I'm going to do for that is go to Assets, go to Prefabs, right? And then we're going to go to Enemy here. And so I select the enemy, and then we're going to open the prefab. All right, so now we're in the enemy prefab. And what I'm going to do is go to Assets, go to 3D, and we're just going to grab the goose and drop it up here. And now it's parented underneath the enemy cube, okay? Now, if you scaled, I'm going to click on the enemy cube. If you scaled this cube in any way, so right now it's 1, 1, 1, but if for some reason this was 2, you're going to see that your dude's going to be like stretched. So just make sure that you scale that back to 1, okay? Now, from there, you might need to make some more adjustments and such. So he looks really big. I thought I adjusted. Let me see. Let's go to model 0.35. That's weird. I don't know. All right, so I'm actually just going to double check to see if he's just gigantic in here. So I'm going to hit back on that thing. And then we're going to go ahead and hit play. And I'm going to see, because we should see the, they'll now just have like a duck inside the cube there. So it's going to see if he is indeed the right size. And yeah, oh, I guess those cubes are just kind of small. All right, so no, that was right. Just looks big, I guess, because I was in that thing. All right, so I'm going to go back to the prefabs again here. Prefabs, and we'll select the enemy, and we'll hit open prefab. Okay, so I guess that's the right scale. It just looks big to me for some reason. All right, so I'm going to take this dumb goose here, and I'm just going to pull it up so his feet are on the bottom. That looks fine. And then what we're going to do is take the enemy cube here, and I'm just going to make some adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the mesh filter or renderer off, and that will just make it so it's no longer renderable. I don't need that part. It was just there as a placeholder. And now I just need to adjust the other aspects of this. So I'm going to hit the box slider, just edit it, and I'm just going to make sure that it's correct to the scale of my, oops, come on, go back here. Edit, and I just want to make sure it's the correct scale for my thing here. So we'll pull it up. Stupid thing. And boom. And we'll go like that. And oh, it definitely needs to come forward some. Like that, we'll say. And we'll bring it back a little. Right, we'll call that good as far as the box collider is concerned. Then we're going to go down to the nav mesh agent. And that's definitely not scaled correctly for it, you can see. So we're just going to do the height. It's got to go up. So I'm just going to click and drag, roughly do about there. And where's the width? There's the radius. And we're just going to make the radius a bit more. And I think that's fine. You're just going to want to scale it until it's roughly the right size. It honestly isn't really that big of a deal. I might also have to change my code because I did change my cube size here, or my rigid body. So when he's shooting out that ray, it might not be shooting far enough. So I have a feeling I'm probably going to have to adjust on the enemy script where he's shooting the ray out. It's probably not going to be shooting far enough to detect the enemy anymore, or the player, I should say. I mean, he's my enemy. Okay. So that looks good. All right. So the other issue that we're going to have is, let me see, I got that. Okay. So now let's go ahead and just play it and just make sure that that part's working. Just that it just has the goose. I imagine that, like I said, my player, it's not going to hurt my player anymore, but I just want to make sure that it is indeed, whoa, okay, that it is indeed going to make geese. And yep, they're all coming at me. And they can't really get to me. I might want to make it so they can, okay. So you can see here they come to save the day. All right, but they're not really. And I should be able to just murder them. Yep, that's good, okay. But I don't believe they're going to be able to murder me. So I just want to see something. Let's go to where's player? First person player, and let me see, go down to my health. And yeah, see how my player health is 100? They're not being able to detect me. So that part's not working. All right. But the rest of it is, at least he's going in there. Okay. So we're definitely going to have to change the script, but we'll change the script when we go through and we fix the rest of it as well. So the other problem is, let's go ahead and get rid of this goose here. I don't need this one anymore. And let's go back to the enemy here, and we'll open that prefab. you might have noticed it doesn't have any animation on it, which is kind of a weird thing, but for whatever reason, it doesn't come with it. So what we're going to do is go to your assets and go to 3D. And then if you click on the Dumb Goose, go ahead and expand it. You'll see there's those clips that you made. So they actually come in as like a separate thing. And although this is dragged in from there, it doesn't show up like on the model itself. So you actually have to, I don't know why it's like this, but I'm going to click on this, control, click, and click, grab all three of them. No, not the middle mouse button, just regular mouse click, and just drag it onto the Dumb Goose. Boop. And now, if I have him selected, we want to do is open up the animator. So with this selected, go to Window and go to where you Animation and go to Animator. And now you'll see those clips. If you would have went to Animator before, you wouldn't have seen them. Also, there wouldn't be an animator component. There was no animator component before. But now we can see actually our clips here of our what we have. Okay. So this should be pretty easy. So we'll do entry, and entry, I think the default should be walk. So I'm going to go to walk, right click, and we're going to do set as default state. So that's where it's going to go to. Actually, we aren't going to need idle. I didn't need to make that one. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do from any state, right? So they're only going to go back and forth. It really doesn't matter otherwise. So we're going to say any state. I'm going to right click, make transition to here. And then we'll right click, make transition to here. And that will be it. So now we just need to decide what the transition will be. So we're going to have to adjust these two because I do want these to mix a little bit, but I don't know if I want them to mix as much as they are. But what we need to do is add a parameter. So I'm going to go to parameters, click on this, and we are going to add a bool. And all I'm going to do is we'll just say player near, we'll say. Okay. We'll literally, remember, I don't know if you remember, we put that variable for whether it should be coming towards us or not, and we had that player present. So when it detects the player, I'm going to have it, if it detects the player, it's going to attack. And if it's not detecting the player, it's going to do the walk animation, which is the same thing that's linked to whether it should move and whether it should be attacking. So it's literally going to be, it's going to be really easy to hook those two things up. So we're just going to do player near. And what we're going to do is on the transition to here, we're going to add a condition, and we'll say player near if it's false. So if the player's not near, play the walk animation. Select this one, hit the little plus, and this one will be true. So if the player's near, do that animation, and if the player is not near, do the false animation. And like I said, I do want to, okay. So what I want you to notice is this. So notice there's an attack, right? Now watch. We didn't have this with the 2D animation. We just we took these, this transition and I just collapsed it. But notice now, if you watch the animation down here as I click and drag this. So it'll go from attacking and then it blends into the walk. You see that? So that's how it's showing you the transition. So in 3D, it's possible because it's bones that are driving the animations. In 3D, it's you can also do it with 2D, but because there's bones, we can actually have that blend from one to the other, where we couldn't really do that with the other ones. I don't know what the transition time is. I might have to adjust a bunch of these, but at least now that is set up. We also have it moving, and if we play the game, you're going to see that now the enemy is going to be walking towards, or it's going to be walking at least, probably the, oops. I don't know what happened there. I think it's popping underneath me. Now you can see that they're indeed walking towards me. Not very well, but looks like he's just hopping along. What is going on with his animation? It doesn't look right to me. It's weird. Is it walking? It just looks like he's hopping around. I'm just going to do another thing real quick too, because I'm just going to make sure that this is working correctly. This is number 3, right? I'm going to go to the animation, and I'm just going to go ahead and say bake animations as well, just to make sure. And then, because when I hit play, yeah, it shows him walking. I don't know why it doesn't look like walking in the other one. And I'm just going to hit apply and make sure that that's working. So I shouldn't need to do that because we baked it in our own, but just to make sure, because the walk cycle just looks strange. Oh, you know what I think it is? I think the animation isn't playing in its entirety is what the issue is. It's not playing the full animation. It keeps starting and stopping. So he's doing a stutter step. It's not the baking. It's the actual animator thing. So what I want to do is on this, we want to, let me see, right defaults. Let me see, is it on this one? Attack from walk. Let's open up the settings. Fixed duration, transition duration, interruption source, can transition to self. Let me just see. Okay, so I just tested it. That does work. So what you want to do is, not this one, on the thing here, underneath the settings for the any state to walk, turn off can transition to self. What's happening is it's blending from itself back onto itself. So it's blending from walking back onto walking. So it just keeps stuttering. If we turn the transition to self off, it has to complete before. And so what it'll do is it'll play the animation. It'll just keep playing this animation instead of coming back again and again and again, which is what it's currently doing. So we'll just turn the transition to self, and that fixes the weird walking thing. Let's do that also on the attack. Hopefully that should also solve that. So just turn both the transition to self. That seems to fix it. All right. I'm going to call that good, because now if we play the game, you'll see that it should be fine. It's only going to be walking, but in the next one we'll do is we will fix the attacking, and we will fix, we'll apply the animation. But now you can see he's properly walking towards me. It's sort of creepy. All right. So we'll do that in the next one.